Hello everyone and welcome back to World Regional Geography. This is our lecture on Africa south of the Sahara, and in this lecture I'll be focusing on the physical geography of the continent. Whenever we talk about the African continent, we should be aware that we're talking about a very large part of the world. And when we say Africa, we're not talking about a country, we're talking about a continent with several regions. We break up the continent, for example, in several regions such as West Africa, which includes countries like Nigeria, which has the largest population and one of the largest economies. But also it encompasses countries like Senegal, Mali, Mauritania, and Ghana, and the Ivory Coast. We also include North Africa. North Africa is usually included in the unit on Middle East and Central Asia because culturally and linguistically it's closer to the Arab world because of its relationship with Islam. And here we find countries like Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, North Sudan, or just Sudan, excuse me. We also have Central Africa, which includes countries like Cameroon, Congo, and Gabon. And then East Africa, which includes countries like Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Tanzania. And then we have Southern Africa, which includes countries like Angola, Mozambique, Botswana, and South Africa, the country, and also Madagascar on its own. Next week, we will talk about North Africa. Here, we're only focusing on the regions that are south of the Sahara, which is why this is called Sub-Saharan Africa. When we look at the continent has a great plateau in the southeast of the country. And we see a continuous lifted piece of the Earth's crust as the plateau, and the continent tilts from east to west, as this arrow implies. We also have a very important definitive feature in the Eastern African section, which is the African Rift Valley, which is formed by plate tectonic activity, and it is home to the Great Lakes of East Africa. These valleys and lakes are formed by the divergence between the African plate and the African Somali plate, which are moving in opposite directions, and so this creates rifts, valleys, and lakes in this region. When we look at the continent, here we see several climate types, most except polar. Of course, we have our type A climates, which are tropical rainforests and tropical savannas, which begin here at the equator and then move towards the tropics. And then we also have steep and desert climates in the type B sections, like the Saharan Desert here in the north, which is the largest, the Sahara Desert is the largest desert in the world. We also have the Somali Desert, and then we have the Namibian Desert as well. We do have small Mediterranean regions in parts of Ethiopia and South Africa as well. And we also have highland climates in the mountains. As I mentioned, we have the Namibian Desert and the Kalahari Deserts in the southwest of, in the southern part of Africa as well. And you should probably be familiar already with the Saharan Desert, which is the largest desert in the northern region and creates the border between North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. Overall, the continent receives 60 to 80 inches of precipitation in the tropical rainforest regions, especially around the Congo, right, between the tropics and West Africa. And this supports lush vegetation. However, there are some countries that have lost a considerable amount of their forest cover, like the Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria in West Africa. In Central Africa, countries like Gabon, the Congo, and the DRC retain about 65% of the original rainforest, but it is also under threat of deforestation. In fact, some of the main challenges that the continent faces are related to exploitation of natural resources, in part because there's a lot of poverty in the region, but also because a lot of these raw materials are in high demand in the richer countries, and so this is a way for governments to make money. We have issues of the exploitation of the land that lead to desertification, especially due to overgrazing, as well as pollution from oil extraction, especially in Nigeria. We see this issue, and Angola. We also have issues of water accessibility with repeated droughts and poor infrastructure to manage water and sewage in cities. And as I mentioned, deforestation, which encroaches through agriculture, encroaches on the rainforest, but also poaching, the illegal poaching of wild animals. Okay, that's it for this section on physical geography. In the next section, I will cover the cultural and historical geography of the African sub-Saharan region.